Well, we're joined now by Hatem Bazian from Berkeley, California. He's the director of the Islamophobia Research and Documentation Project and lecturer at the University of California. Hatem, thank you very much for joining us. I just want to start with a really obvious question. At the time when Donald Trump said he wanted to see a ban or a temporary ban on Muslims entering the United States, a number of high-profile people from both sides of the political spectrum came out and said he was playing into the hands of various extreme groups, including Daesh and Shabab. I guess you probably anticipated this as well.
First, thank you for having me. And indeed, as when Trump actually called for the closing of mosques and targeting Muslims, a large number of civil society leadership, including Hillary Clinton, Bernie Sanders, and others, took issue with Trump and identified his rhetoric to be an extremist rhetoric, to not represent the normative processes of including religious minorities in the United States. So as such, Trump does not represent the broader American society, but he is tapping to a significant grouping within the American political spectrum that has identified minorities, including Muslims, as a grouping for them to rally political capital in the upcoming election. And I think we need to locate it within that spectrum.
Aside from Donald Trump, the video also mentioned the shootings of unarmed black men over the past couple of years by the US police officers. How vulnerable are people in those sort of communities to this message? You're being unfairly treated in that country, join us. Is that a real temptation for them, or will they see it for what it is?
Well, I think terrorist organizations tend to try to recruit at the margins of societies, at those individuals that have found the political process to be failing them. They don't have economic opportunities. Their integration or assimilation in society has been problematic. So from one sense, they might register some success in those arenas. But I think overall, the message of Shabab as well as ISIS, I think it will not have the registration or the possibility of recruitment of a large number of individuals.
Okay, but you have seen some instances, perhaps from Minnesota, where the call has actually been answered by a number of young men. Is that right?
That's correct, but I think...
Can you tell us about that, though? What happened in these cases? What is the pattern here?
Well, these are specifically Somali youth. So in this sense, we're dealing with individuals who have an ethnic, cultural affiliation with Somalia. And as such, the recruitment was by means of that cultural, ethnic specificity to the Somalis. It did not cross over to African American populations or the larger Muslim population. I don't think that we have a single case of a Muslim that is not of Somali background that have been recruited by Shabab. So we need to isolate and understand that part of Shabab. I think ISIS is a different animal altogether in terms of its recruitment. I think it's been far more successful in France, in England, and the United States. And I think that success have to be understood in terms of their messaging, their imagery, and the type of religious context that they put in terms of their videos and their approach. So I think those are two separate
just finally,
cases.
Also within this video, they used old clips of Anwar al-Awlaki, the cleric that was killed in Yemen. And he was saying, you know, yesterday America was a land of slavery, tomorrow a land of concentration camps. The West will eventually turn on Muslim citizens. You know, but we've just seen Europe taking in about 1 million refugees, many of whom are Muslim. America at the moment has a black president, a black attorney general. Which of these two narratives do you think is the more dominant one amongst the demographic that these groups are looking to entice?
Well, I always try to emphasize in our work on Islamophobia is to de-link this call by terrorist organizations with the cases of Islamophobia and racist discourses in the West. And I think what we need is to be clear that there are problems in the West, but these problems can be addressed and solved within the political processes that exist. And what we need is far more engagement and far more empowerment for the communities. What Shabab and ISIS are looking for is to actually instrumentalize the cases of discrimination that exist in the West as a way to try to drive their agenda and their policy. And I think we need to isolate these extremists and not allow them to have that ability to recruit by means of using these instances of discrimination and racism that exist, while at the same time recognizing the openness.
Hatem Bazian, thank you very much for joining us. Sorry we have to cut you off. We're at the end of the show.